Hello, fire signs, and welcome to your daily focus tro for Wednesday. So, we have the Knight of Wands. Wands are all about growth. They're about growth at your core as a person. So, like, even the unconscious creative side of you, like, not just your soul or your mental and emotional growth, but real spiritual growth, real transformation, and using that creativity. And this Knight, he can be impulsive when he's going towards projects and start like tons of new projects, but not be focused on the finer details of these projects and not be able to transform them, to complete them, because he gets attracted to the next shiny object, the next shiny idea or shiny person or thing, right? And then we have, for clarifiers, 5 of Wands and 7 of Wands. Now, 5 of Wands, this, because the way they're fighting, it's in the shape of a pentacle. So to me, this 5 of Wands not only has to deal with spiritual, mental, and emotional things, it also has to deal with how those affect your material things, like how they affect your career and your finances, your house, your car, even how you look at like your body. And this is a card of not necessarily having the language skills to communicate. So this is about conflict and tension, and it can be about inner tension because you're not, being able to focus on, you're not having the language or the skills to focus on those finer things and transforming them, right? So there's a lot of tension and you don't quite know how to get there. And the 7 of Wands is talking about self-defense and protection. It's talking about being on the higher ground, but still having to defend yourself because, and feeling justified in having to defend yourself because these spears here, which are not actually wands, they're spears. They have metal points at the tip. 2 of them or 3 of them are the same, and then well, the other 3 might be the same too at a different angle, but you're feeling very justified in how you're defending yourself and how you're handling this transformation, and you're trying to persevere, you're trying to defend it, but you're really struggling here. You're really struggling with this inner tension, this inner conflict. And it could be that you're struggling to explain it to other people too. Like, you need to transform and you need to change, but you don't know how to get other people to back you up on it. And the thing is in the details. It's in the details. Where you need to be is in the details, not running off and starting something new until you complete what you've already started, until you finish them. So then we also have for you 4 of Pentacles, and this is, talking about material things. She's barely, and this can talk about being imbalanced in those material things, being focused on just one pentacle, ignoring the 2 that you're sort of standing on, that you're like walking on eggshells over, and you're barely able to stay on them even though you're squatting down, and you're really trying to hold on to this one. You're listening to this one, you're looking at it, you're trying to hold on to it with both hands. But if you stood up, you'd be better able to balance on these 2 pentacles, and you'd be able to reach this one that's right above the crown chakra. It's right above the spirituality, the thinking, the ability to see clearly in terms of the path that you need to take. So the clarifier for it was the star in reverse. And the star is talking about being in the flow of life and having wishes and dreams come true, having healing, having creativity when it's in the upright. So when it's in the reverse, is talking about not being in the flow, like being disconnected, having a loss of direction for your life. And that's what this Four of Pentacles is talking about. You're not secure, you're not rooted, because she's barely balanced on these two pentacles that she's standing on. So the star in reverse is also talking about that lack of security, that lack of being grounded, of having stability in your life. I think I said it talks about loss of direction, like being confused about where you want to go. You're disconnected from who you are and what you want out of life. You've got this gung-ho to transform, but then you've got all this tension and conflict and needing to feel justified in defending that, but at the same time you're lost. At the bottom of the deck, the ethereal visions, we have Five of Cups, which is the card of, crying over spilled milk, the card of you've got two cups behind you, and you've got, the unconscious, the spiritual, and the emotional with a bridge over it, and a castle over here, a wish come true, a dream, a home, spiritual growth, a family, whatever it is, security, whatever this castle represents to you. But you're ignoring being able to fill these two cups and walk over this bridge to the castle because you've got three cups in front of you that are spilled. You're paying attention to the past instead of the present and the future. If you pay attention to the present, the future builds itself. If you pay attention to the past, it's just the present is losing out and the future is losing out. I mean, it's good to have some reminiscence of things, but not to the point where you're ignoring everything else around you. Not to the point where you're, collapsed within yourself. So this is like the bottom of the deck is what's your unconscious, what you're not aware of. So maybe you're not aware that you're focusing on the past too much and not really, like I said, you're not learning from the past and then taking that knowledge and moving forwards for today and tomorrow. You're sitting in it and you're letting it control you in the now. The past is done. It's over. Don't sit in it. If you need to learn a lesson from it, that's fine. Learn the lesson, but then use that lesson to move on. Underneath that, we have the artist, and you'll notice the castle is over here in the sky on a cloud, but he's looking at his vision. He's looking at his knowledge, at his understanding of his life, his past here. And he's physically bringing where he wants to go with this knowledge, with this security, this dream, whatever this castle is representing. He's looking at this knowledge and he's putting it down in the 3D, in the physical book, and deciding, how do I get, he's coming up with a plan to get to whatever that castle represents, whether it represents a home, it represents a person, it represents, stability. If it represents a church, that would be like spiritual knowledge, spiritual growth. He's coming up with a plan. This is a card of vision. At the bottom of the Druid Craft, we have Eight of Swords, which is a card of, self-imprisonment. it's like it's a lot like the Five of Cups in that way, because there's nobody guarding her. The swords are very well, spaced out that she can walk through them. She is bound, yes, and she's blindfolded, but she could get out of it since there's nobody guarding her. There's nobody else in this image. There's nobody with her. And because she's wearing the color blue, this can be about communication, like feeling like you can't say what you want to say or what you need to say, feeling like you don't, like with this Five of Wands, like you have this inner tension and you have these thoughts that keep you think they're keeping you bound, but they're not. You think that you're unable to get free, and it's creating this tension, but you really can free yourself. You can walk out from this circle of swords. They're not a very tight-knit circle. They're not there's nobody guarding you. This is being done to yourself. This, Five of Cups, this is something that you can take yourself out of, that you can observe and get clarity on and find a way to grow through, and then have this breakthrough, right? You can have this breakthrough and this new beginning. You can get this vision into your life and start anew. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow.